Now, Asia First on CNA938.
Apparently, a record-breaking 16,000 primary 6 students applied for the direct school admission this year, or the DSA, and this is quite a chock-full compared to last year's total by a significant margin. If you want to know, last year 14,500 students applied for DSA, so more students applied for it, and it's a record high. With such intense competition, the chances of rejection are also unfortunately higher because those spots are limited. Now, as adults, we know rejection. We've gone through it. We understand that rejection can be difficult to handle. But for children, it may be even more challenging to digest, to acknowledge, to cope with. While we can't eliminate these feelings entirely, we can provide them with the tools to cope with these feelings effectively and in a more constructive manner. To help us with that is Dr. Shawn Ee. He's clinical psychologist, psychoanalytic psychotherapist, and director at the psychology practice. Dr. Ee, good to have you with us this morning. Thank you so much for your time. So, how does rejection in such a school admissions process, how does it typically affect a child's self-esteem and confidence?
Morning, Andrea. Thanks for that question. In general, we would say that, because one might have to prepare oneself for quite a number of years so that they can demonstrate themselves somewhat suitable at clearing criteria to be able to make it. So there are a lot of expectations built around this. And not just for the child, but also, we know the parents put a lot of weight on how well their children can do in regards to these applications in our rat race.
Absolutely. It's not just the disappointment on the part of the child, but also on the parent as well, because we hold such high expectations together, right? So as a parent, let's put that aside for a moment. We'll explore that in just a few moments, but let's look at the child now. How can we tell if he or she is feeling disappointed or rejected? What are some of the signs that we can look out for? Because some kids are a bit more, they wear their hearts on and their emotions on their sleeves more than others. Some may conceal their disappointment and it sort of emerges later on, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose the answer will come from how well we know our child. And I would say most parents in this area would probably know the child pretty well in regards to, looking for signs. So if you experience, observing your child to have a sudden change in behavior or mood, or suddenly they appear bothered, there's a high chance you could be onto something. I would say try to trust your gut with your kids. Something doesn't feel too right. So my sort of guideline I tell our parents, right? So the younger your child and the less articulate with their feelings, the more you will generally see their feelings in the form of acting out behavior. Sometimes it looks like, they're misbehaving or they're purposefully sort of manipulating or pushing against you. It could be a sign of unhappiness and frustration and disappointment as well.
I do take note of your tip there. It really does boil down to how observant you are of your child's behaviors and how well you know your child. Now, as a parent, what tips, what effective mechanisms, coping mechanisms can we teach our children to manage rejection?
I think the simple one, I would just say to talk it through with an adult, right? It's really kind of important because in some ways we model a lot of the ways in which we manage our feelings with our children. So sometimes, it's about finding one's own calm, right? So as a result, then we can talk it through on a rational basis, but also respecting how they feel about it. So asking them, how do you feel about that? Because there are lots of expectations built around this. And we want to help them work through this such that they don't see that we have loved them less or changed our view on them. The core thing is actually about the child's self-worth. And there's a pro tip I like to give parents, right, who are listening in. So if you are feeling uncomfortable, irritated, or upset with them about the application or, how it didn't go through, there's a high chance, right, that they are feeling that as well. right?
Yeah.
So let our feelings as parents be the guide as to how we can tell.
Well, they are part us as well, after all,
That's
aren't
right.
they?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
So that's if that's after the fact, when we go through the process with them and we say,
Yeah.
okay, how do you feel about that rejection? Are you feeling okay? We check in with them, but if they seem all right at the start and then those behaviors change a little later on, maybe a few days, a few weeks later, we identify that behavior change. How do we pull our child aside and extract their true feelings from them, from that behavior, and try to work things out with them? Because by then, that sort of those emotions would have festered for quite some
Yeah.
time.
I would say the general rule is still to find one's calm with your children in a sort of a non-stressful environment. So if it's not about achievement and just talking to them about how well they've been doing, it's sort of like checking with them every now and then, about how they've been, going with their activities. So, for example, they go who twice a week every for the 6 years or something. Just checking with them if this is what actually they want to do, and if, let's say, it feels right for them, because sometimes, right, we're the psychological dynamic behind this whole thing is about wanting to get ahead, and the thing is, we might actually lose sight of even if our intentions were well-meaning, might lose sight into the value of one's learning and also what it means to have a good education. So actually, these conversations, right, can actually supercharge our discussions with our children and open up some more needed conversation. I would say just ask your child, right? Ask them about how they, whether this feels okay for them.
Yeah, and it might actually help you chart new paths for your child in terms of pursuing new interests or even taking it further without having to be admitted into a new curriculum specific for it that they got rejected from.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's common for us parents to feel the same emotions as you said, right? That disappointment, sometimes even guilt that you weren't able to get your child through to that particular program that they so wanted to be a part of. How can we then, as parents, manage our own feelings and avoid projecting them onto our children when these situations arise?
That's a powerful question. Thanks for that. So, in general, I would think parents are powerful authority, and that means we can shape the context. Okay, we can either make it a toxic atmosphere about who is not good enough, or an encouraging and realistic view toward expectations. So this follows also, discussions we have around our partner or family about what learning and good education and performance is. So they're constantly listening out to us about how we're talking. So I would say parents set the scene. Okay, we set the tone, we set the scene. So the terms that we use and we speak about on a daily basis matter. So don't say I'm disappointed in you, but actually I'm disappointed at the outcome. For example, you can say in an encouraging way, hey, it's okay, let's try again. We generally don't want to kick a person who's on the ground already,
Yeah.
to help them feel like they are understood and that it's more than just about their school application. You can still have a good education anywhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also about forming allyship with your child. And, if you're feeling disappointed, it's perfectly all right. And you can feel disappointed together and sort of grow out of it as a unit, as a family unit. Yeah, it's a lesson on growth. It's a lesson for the family as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This has been a really enlightening conversation. I wish we had more time, but I'm sure we will be speaking with you again, Dr. Ee, on matters of parent and child. Here's hoping that parents out there of children who have been rejected from the DSA or any kind of program are able to cope in the future rejections as well. Thank you so much for exploring this topic with us, Dr. Ee. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Andrea. Appreciate it.
That is Dr. Shawn Ee. He is a clinical psychologist, psychoanalytic, psychotherapist, and director at the Psychology Practice.